be? Do you wanna be? What you wanna be today, Yanko? Besides
Um,
sparkly.
I was gonna say I'm gonna be Yanko today.
I mean, hey, that works. I love the
Sometimes it gets
sparkles.
there you go. Sometimes it gets old to be who you usually are, and you change it a little bit. But sometimes it's okay. Like anything else in life, when you get used to something, it's more comfortable. So, but I can be
Mm.
Peter. So why
We were talking
not?
about walking on the Empire State Building just before we went on
That's right.
live. But
That's right.
before we jump into the conversation for no particular reason, my name is
Mm.
Kerri Lewis. This here is Yanko Yankov, and you have caught us for episode 115 of For No Particular Reason, which airs live Fridays at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard, 9 a.m. Central, and 8 a.m. Pacific, where you can catch me and Yanko talking about anything, everything, and nothing in between. We love to get audience comments and feedback and, engage in good conversation. So if you catch us and want to drop your thoughts, please do so. We'd be super grateful. And with that all being said, what's up? What you got to add?
I wasn't. You pretty much covered it all. Like intro wise, it's good. But yeah, we're sharing our cup of coffees. Kerri has her skull cup, and the skulls in the background because she loves skulls. And just having a plain cup of coffee, and we're sharing coffee. Hopefully, you guys gonna join us and share coffee with us and share your thoughts, and we'll see where this conversation goes. But
Hey,
yeah, like you were saying, we're talking about the climb of the Empire building. So let's continue on the topic. It's kind of interesting.
listen, I absolutely love it. And you know why I loved it? Because, there are going to be people who completely disagree with those two individuals because they broke the laws and
Right.
they, you know, acted in a manner unbecoming of what is expected by society. And then there's going to be people like myself who absolutely loved it. But what I was thinking about, Yanko, is there are so many people like those individuals, myself included, who are challenging the status quo and bucking the system in our own ways to show up as love, because we will never ever be able to fight the system with fear. But if we show up as love, we literally watch the system crumble, and that will happen. And I do that all the time. And earlier today I was in a spin class, and an individual in that spin class had yelled at me for singing. I know I mentioned this a while back.
Again.
And I realized that part of the issue is I'm challenging the system of what's acceptable within society. Then, additionally, that same individual I happened to catch, like he had the door open on Father's Day. So I looked him in the eyes and I was like, thank you so much. And I bestowed an act of kindness. And I believe that is how we change what we experience, is showing up and being that person who challenges the system in our own unique way, or like those two individuals climb the Empire State Building and raise a flag saying, if love is more important than power, we'll know peace. And I really fundamentally know that's the truth.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like the saying goes, there's the men's law and God's law. You know what I mean? So we as humans make the laws for ourselves, and we limit ourselves with our own laws because we don't feel like certain about certain things, predictable things, and kind of staying away from uncomfortable and unpredictable. And I think this is why a lot of the laws are man-made for people. I
Control.
watched somebody. Well, control.
Laws. that are made by man, I think in the beginning did start as altruistic. Like I really do believe that, I think people don't inherently come in to create like all these expectations to try to control, but inevitably like we add more and more and more, and it is a way to control the population. I fundamentally,
Well, yeah, because of the fear,
yeah,
because the fear creates the control because you don't want to know unexpected. If you're afraid of something, you better manage it ahead of time or set some kind of norm around it so you don't have to fear it again. And that's where the control comes in. If you're
yep.
not fearing anything, there will be no need for control.
Ooh, so good. But I also think you have to be aware of your fear and push through it. Like you have to surrender your fear to
Right.
not have fear. And when we impose all these laws to quote unquote protect us, all we're doing is feeding the fear. Instead of facing it dead on and moving through it, we're feeding it and it's becoming more and more and more. And a perfect example of that is 9/11. Man, we gave up all control as citizens when 9/11 hit. And we like, oh, yep, nope, we got bombed, help us out. And as a result, the oversight that ensued really was a game changer in how the government really was able to tap into our personal stuff. So that's why I encourage people. Yeah, I experience fear, but instead of running away from the fear or trying to come up with a solution not to feel the fear, I go right into that fear. I feel that shit and then I transcend it.
It's empowering because it's empowering to say no, I can't do it. You help me do it. Like in you just kind
No,
of
that's
ask.
disempowering.
Right. So um if you're looking for somebody to do whatever your challenge is, yeah, I think ultimately, if everybody knows that they're sovereign being and they have the power to change the world and do whatever they want their own way, there will be no need to ask somebody else to do it for you because you have all the needs and need in within you. And no
Or
need.
or you attract what it is you need. Like that's a thing that really is like there are certain things. Tech. We all know. Am I smart enough to figure out the tech world? Yes. I've done a lot of things. I don't want to. But guess what I manifested in my life? This amazing friend Yanko, who is a
Uh,
tech guy who loves to play with tech. And when I have a question, I'm like, do. Yanko, can you help me,
there you
please?
go. There you go. Yeah, I
Uh,
have, that brings me joy. Like back in the day, I would go through like they call them RFC or like we do it like to understand the underlying way of things and how they work. So to somebody, it'll just be like digging through a bunch of crap and trying to understand, a different language or something like that's more things they comes around, like definitions and all. So yeah, yeah.
yeah. Well, so going back to God's law, and I really love that you bring this up. So last week, I believe it was, Nana and I went to a watch party for the World Cup, Ghana versus England, and it was in Worcester. Anyway, I ended up,
Oh,
yes. Well, I ended up connecting with two individuals, one who handed me a pamphlet or a little book on Christianity and had quotes in it. And one beautiful woman named Fatma handed me this pamphlet on the Quran. So I've studied it, but I'm always down to like give anything a look. So I started reading the two different scriptures from two different um books, which mind you, the Quran and the Bible are so similar. It blows my mind how much people don't realize we're fighting against the religions that are the most similar, but whatever. I digress. But so when we're talking about God laws, and this is why I bring it up. So in both scriptures, there was a passage around like, don't put others above God. And the reason I bring that up is I see that in my family. And I actually brought this up to one of my family members who is struggling with a family situation, essentially. And I said to this individual, because they're very spiritual, I said, well, if you look at these two scriptures, you're essentially idolatizing your family member over God, because God wants you to be happy. God doesn't want you to suffer and put this person above that. And so that's why I encourage people, kind of like the call to climb the Empire State Building. That felt true for them, right? Like, it did, because one, they were successful, two, you saw the joy, right? And so they did what was in their heart. And even though it wasn't, legal by man's law, I truly believe they were guided by their individual connection with source, whatever that is, which obviously they say is love. But I think that is so important for us in our everyday life, is to really look at, what are we idolatizing? Is it working out every day? Has that become an obsession over something else? Is it, whatever? And then coming back to what feels truly, what brings you peace, what brings you joy, because that is the true testament to being connected to source.
Right. I mean, I always say find yourself when you go within. You get an alignment with what is, instead of looking for something outside to reaffirm your beliefs in whatever laws or whatever else that's going on. So yeah.
First off, Mahedi Hassan, I believe. I hope I'm not saying that incorrectly. Yanko, do you have a YouTube channel? I do, but I don't know if Yanko does. I
Yeah, I
think he
do.
does.
Yeah, we're pretty much on YouTube. We also stream through my Rumble, and at the end of each show, we upload to SoundCloud for podcasting reasons to like allow. Yes.
But anyway, yes, we do. And mine is Kerri Lewis Coaching. I don't know what yours is. But anyway, nonetheless, thank you very much for joining us, because we super appreciate your comment. And if you have any thoughts on whatever, or have a question, feel free to let us know. So go ahead.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. We're on social media. If you look it up, either me or Kerri will gonna pop up. We've been doing that for quite a bit of time, and thanks for joining us. Please
Yeah.
do ask us some questions. You said so. I want to know what's you in the conversation so far. So
Well, you know what?
let's.
So now I have to, this is another thing I want to touch upon.
Mm,
So the individual who handed me the pamphlets on one religion came up to
mm,
me, no problem. The other individual looked at me and wasn't going to hand me a pamphlet, because I know they made an assumption. They literally saw me, and then I saw them go to talk to somebody else. But what I did to make that individual feel welcomed is I looked them in the eyes and I smiled. And that opened up a conversation, and it just reinforced for me something that I'm constantly working on, because I have an ego and I have implicit bias, is this idea of judging an image without ever connecting with them, right? So this individual looked at me. I don't know what it was about me, but I will say a lot of people tell me I look intimidating because of my tattoos. Um, and I was with Nana, and he's a big, buff, muscular black guy, and he definitely gets people make assumptions about him all the time, tell him that he's scary and stuff, which, mine, you couldn't be further than the truth. He's like the biggest, squishiest teddy bear to everybody. But, and so I made it a point to be welcoming, to make that individual feel like, and hopefully at least give them a little bit of pause so that next time they go to share what clearly is important to them, that they don't just assume that a certain person might reject them because of how they look.
Right. I mean, I could have say it could have been like an inner knowing as well. It could have been something that they sense and they didn't like feel like, oh, I have the feeling that maybe this person doesn't need it. Or I start to see that more and more with people that usually stop you to ask you questions, or people that do marketing in stores and things. They kind of vibe with the people, and from the crowd sometimes you just pick up people that you vibe with, and you do it. So I don't know, we can make assumptions.
Yeah.
Thanks, Kerri. I was looking to see if I can get it, but I wanted to be present for the show. So,
Well,
that
I
kind of
got it,
distracted me.
and I wasn't present, and I
There you
don't
go.
know yours, so I can't get yours. I'm just
There you
saying.
go. There you go. There you go.
But yeah, so yeah, it's just, those are the things coming up to mind for me this week. What about you? What is gone in your world that left you insightful or joy filled or in wonder?
I mean, I find the joy pretty great, or I look for things, be like more present in the moment, to like not being in my head and someplace else. But now I don't have to do that as much. Now when I'm present, I find myself just being fascinated by things that are happening in the present. So I don't have to go and think of something else. I can be sitting and watching an ant crawling on the floor, and that'll be entertaining for me.
Well, it's so interesting you bring that up, because my brother yesterday, we were talking about bees, because my 3-year-old nephew,
Uh-huh.
I am working to get him to be very comfortable around bees. His mother is afraid of every bug ever. So, like, it's this
Oh,
yin and yang effect, trying to
sure.
get him to not be afraid of bees. But anyway, in the context of that conversation, my brother said to me, I accidentally killed a bee today while working. And I was like, oh, well, it was the bee's time to go. And he's like, I feel terrible. I would never. And I'm like, well, I understand that. You didn't maliciously
Yeah.
go off the bee. If you did that,
Right.
that's a different story. But sometimes we are part of whatever the experience is to be part of that person's
Yeah. Yeah.
transition,
Yeah.
or, well,
Yeah.
be.
Yeah.
And so there's no reason to feel guilty. But
But this is a good point, though. This is a good point, because like everyone, I don't know. I don't want to over um but at some point I felt kind of the same way. You do something and you feel guilty automatically because you did it in an accident, and that inner voice goes and it goes like, oh, you did something bad. And then you have to go back to like, well, uh,
well, 100%. And um well, it's so funny because I have to feel it. So I'll give you two examples for myself. There was
sure.
one time where I came across this like caterpillar type thing. It was really cool. I've never seen anything like it. It was green and colorful, blah blah. But he was cut in half and he was alive and he was suffering. And part of me wanted to take him out of his misery, but something told me I couldn't. Like, so I prayed over it and then I kept it moving. I then went to yesterday, I was on a run and I came across a worm who was in the concrete, and it's like 100 degrees in Connecticut right now. And I just knew homeboy wasn't making it to the grass. Like, there's just no way. But I was called to pick him up and I helped them. So, like, it's interesting because I don't always like, but if I'm called to do it, I'm just going to do it and keep it moving. And then sometimes, I don't know, it just doesn't feel like the thing. And I remember reading in the biography of a yogi by Paramahansa Yogananda, a
Mm,
time where his disciples or students overfed a deer, and the deer had like some serious stomach issues and it was dying. And because of the yogi's experiences, he could save the deer. But when he went into meditation, he connected with the deer, and the deer was like, I'm meant to die, leave me alone. So I
right.
was like, oh, like we as humans think we know best, but we really simply don't.
Yeah, that's right. Constantly have to remind myself that, and not only in here, but and this is why um, freedom of choice it's very important, or not going against somebody's, because you don't know, you're not in their shoes, you don't know what they're meant to experience or what they're getting out of that. Sometimes it's easier to just do the helping or whatever to make it, to make yourself feel better. And um, one time I listened to a podcast, or a recording of Alan Watts. I'm a huge fan, and he was comparing it to the goody goody of being a goody goody, that you always look to do the good stuff, and to always help and always do this and that, and you don't always know, like, but you're being the goody goody.
Yeah. Well, you know what's so funny?
So
I
the,
I read Alan Watts' work for years. I
mm,
I read it, and I learned a lot from him. But and then we've had this conversation before. Alan Watts used his intellect to understand spirituality, but
right.
he never experienced it. And he didn't. Like, honestly, the man drank himself to death by the time he was 50 something years old. He was in a huge battle with his ex-wife, and I'm not judging him. I'm really not. He taught me so much. And yet, at some point, honestly, he reminded me of some of my family members who they can talk a good game, but they've never experienced mental wellness or peace. So it's kind of like, for me, I'm like a little skeptical to buy into everything because I'm like, you don't really know.
I'm just going to comparing experiences, and that's what I was talking about. Because like you can play that role of goody goody. We're playing
Yeah.
different roles, and you can get in that because ego takes many masks, and you can say, "Well, I read this, and maybe I should be a good person, or be the goody goody," and that's what I was talking about. But as the saying goes, that he quoted in one of his lectures, that goes something like that: let me help you set the monkey to the fish not drown by putting up the branch. And it's kind of the same mentality of being goody goody, trying to help all the time, and that's another mask that the ego develops. And trust me, I've been there. At the beginning, you struggle to understand the whole thing, struggle to understand your identity or what roles you're playing, where you play them, how you play them, and all that stuff. And I caught myself in those shoes. Like, oh, you look at a caterpillar, and it's like, let me be the good guy and help this creature. But you don't know.
You know, no. That creature may want to just kick the bucket. You know what I'm
I
saying?
know, exactly. So now, more or less, I find myself asking or having the inner knowledge, do you want the help, even if it's a tree or a flower or whatever that is, because we're all interconnected. You might not hear the words, but if you want to connect with something, you can connect with it and find out if it's okay with that thing or person or animal or whatever that is, and then go with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
100%. I agree. Even if I'm talking to a family member or a friend who just happens to mention something they're going through, my first words are, do you want me to give you my perspective, or are you just sharing what it is you're going through?
You're
Because
really good at that. Yeah.
people
I'm
really don't want to hear that shit.
yeah, I'm still in the habit of like speaking whatever I think without asking, like, do you really care? Like, do you want to hear my feedback or whatever? But at least you're really good at that. Still.
Well, I don't know though. I'll give you a real I, I am generally really good at it, but going back to like spontaneity, I was at
Mm,
the high school taking part in this portrait of a graduate. So I had to watch two seniors present their work. Anyway, prior to the presentation, I connected with these three people, and there was these two teachers, and one of the teachers was super proud of himself. He started doing yoga, he was stretching, he's talking, really proud of himself. And then the second teacher immediately dismissed his effort, said, "You only doing this a couple times," like. And so we go through the presentations, and as we're moving on, I couldn't help it. I looked at them and I was like, "For you, sir, celebrate the fact that you've done it for so many days. You're showing up and doing something that honors you." And for you, I was like, when you celebrate even the smallest win, that's lifting people up rather than tearing them down. She didn't like that. Her response was, "I'm going to keep doing that." And I'm like, "Well, go ahead. I just wouldn't want you as a
sure,
friend."
sure. I won't even go as far as trying to explain myself in the way of thinking. Again, like I'll share what I think and what my thoughts, but I'm not spending any more energy arguing with people and trying to convince them otherwise or anything. If they meet their mind, it's not my job to do it.
Yeah.
You
Well, but honestly, it really did make me take stock afterwards of the people I surround myself with. Because I'll be damned if I surround myself with people who make fun of my efforts, even if they're minute. Like the reality is any change that I've endeavored to take is something that is important to me, that I have decided I want to put effort into. And in my world, you don't have to understand it, but you don't get to tear me down. Because if that's your jam, then you're not my people. You know what I mean? And Nana and I have the best relationship in that regard. He is he is taking part in an event that is going to make me laugh, and my job isn't to understand it, it's just to support him. What can I do to make it so that you can say that you did this because it's important to you?
I already shared it.
Hi, Tarek.
Yeah,
We
we
haven't
haven't
seen
seen you in
you
a
in a bit.
bit.
We're so glad you said hi. When you gonna join the show? I see you be posting the stuff up there. I may not comment, and I'm rarely on social media, but I do see.
Yeah, same. So thanks for sharing energy with us today. And whoever else that's watching us, thank you guys. Commenting and making this more engaging. It's always good. Gets us going. Yeah. So give us your thoughts. We're pretty good, man. We're pretty good. Yeah. Getting excited about life. Kerri, you want to add what you've been doing?
I am growing exponentially, moving through expansion, the ups and the downs that come with that. And overall, I'm very peaceful at the moment and appreciative for the experience.
Oh, there you
That is the
go.
most honest answer I can give you.
Yeah. Sometimes I am doing and sometimes I'm not doing. So that's that's how life goes for me. Yeah. Go ahead.
I'm just sitting here.
Oh, cool. I was gonna talk about something and I lost my track of thought too. Hmm. There you go.
What?
He's laughing. So.
I mean, I keep it a hundo. Me,
100%. Yeah.
yep, pretty much. Well, you know what? Let's talk about the art of silence. Although it kind of defeats the purpose of being on a podcast and sitting here in silence. But yesterday, I had I was working with a tech guy to download software for my daughter. She got a new computer and I paid for the security service. Anyway, um obviously it's technology. It takes time to download the information, reboot it, blah blah blah, blah. And so I was just sitting there chilling and I kept noticing that the guy who I work with, he had to fill the space. Like the silence felt unbearable to
Oh,
him.
made
And
him uncomfortable.
yeah, he kept it's
Yeah.
just gonna be a minute. And I'm like, honestly, I'm chill. Like I can sit here in silence and be totally fine. But I could tell, like I could feel how uncomfortable it was for him. And he kept, you know, every couple minutes trying to engage me. And I'm like, really, dude, I'm cool. But I find people just struggle to sit in silence,
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of
especially
it.
when in company of somebody else.
Mm. Well, not even in company of somebody else. You can be in your car and be uncomfortable with silence and turn the music on or something else, or call somebody because you're not comfortable being with yourself.
Hmm.
So that's like right at the beginning when you start going inward and you start finding about things about yourself. Those are the first thing that come up. But I can relate to the guy because I've done IT, and sometimes when people are frustrated, they just don't speak because they might say something that might offend the other side. And so, if you don't fill it into people and you're looking at a face that just sits on the other side and not saying anything, your assumption will be that they're angry because it's taking so long, because we're living in the ages of instant gratitude where you expect something to just happen like this, like right at the moment, right at the, like, who has time for that? But if you look back in the day where computers are so slow and internet was so slow, you had to sit there for 5 minutes and wait for an image to load up and go bloop 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 bloop. you know there was no HD freaking movies or none of that stuff.
Well, but yeah, but like, well, I imagine now you can read a person's energy. You know whether you need to fill the
Oh
silence or
yeah,
not.
oh yeah, oh yeah. I
But
mean,
for me, I'm just like,
yeah, more and more people are getting into the point where they're starting to fill in into people, and they just know. I shared that experience some time ago with you, when I was walking in buildings corridor, and I was just totally in silence, totally like present, and every time I'm there, um, there's no thoughts or anything. I guess I look certain way, or I maybe look, or my face sits differently instead of like smiling or being engaged with whatever it's going on in my head. And so that person was um asking me like if I'm okay, or of like what's going on, if I needed a help, or in his comment was like, you look like you're in thought, and I kind of laughed and I said, quite opposite, there's no thought going on. There's just walking.
well, going back to reading people's energy, I was at a workout class and I reconnected with a woman that I trained with 15 years ago. She just happened
Mm,
to start working out at the gym I work out at and now. And so I've just felt her energy, and I obviously say hi, but I've just felt her energy. So me and her ended up meeting in the locker rooms last week, and she's like, I was like, hey, how you doing? She's like, and I'm like, oh, I know. And she's like, I know, I was like, I know I'm there, but you can't escape me. She's like, I'm the type of person who likes to hide my messy. And I'm like, oh, I don't hide my messy, but I hate to break it to you. You can't hide your messy. I was like, you can to some people, But eventually people aren't like, I'm
Yeah.
sorry guys, we are all getting upgraded. There's no
Yeah.
way that people can hide their messy. The difference is, for people like Yanko and myself and people who go inward and meditate and stuff, we're very grounded. We know what's going on in our internal narrative all the time. So I can distinguish whether the messy is that person or is it something I have to examine.
Yep.
Whereas a lot of people, if you don't go inward, you have no idea and you're absorbing everybody's shit and you just taking it on as your own because you have never learned yourself enough to realize that half of what's going on has nothing to do with you and it's just the energy you fed. So I encourage people now more than ever, if you do nothing else, incorporate breath work into your day. Like 30 seconds of breath work. Because
Yep.
if you do breath work for 30 seconds, one, it's a repeat behavior that will instantly kick in when your nervous system is heightened later on. It takes time to develop, but it will work for you. And two, it helps you start to become aware of your internal narratives.
Well, the system kind of does it to a degree automatically already. And if you observe and of your surrounding, you'll see people when they get like too much going, they have that heavy sigh at a moment where they have to like, they just go like, kind of like they've been
Yeah.
holding it,
Yep.
and they're just like heavy sigh to kind of like relax the body because there's tension going on. So the body knows a lot of that stuff. We're just not paying
Exactly. And
attention to
yet,
it.
exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
And it's so I recently, because I'm moving a lot of energy in my body, I started a program for diaphragmatic and psoas release, like breathing in, which like all the stuff she's taught, I already do anyway, but most people breathe very shallowly. You don't
Mm,
really breathe into your body the way we're actually meant to
mm.
for many reasons because of how our bones shifted throughout our life. A lot of times we're hunched over, our ribs cave in, whatever the case is. But breath is the quickest way to peace. Like it really is. And if you're looking to get familiar with how to read other people's energy, because this is not a superpower, this is innate in every single person. And you want to get attuned to it, just start with breath work. And then
Yeah.
thank you for the kind words. Uh and Rusty, we saw your smiley face, so shout out to you too. I appreciate the kind words on my smile. I I like my smile. Up, we lost Yanko.
Yeah, Rusty, it's like Tarek that it's one of our regulars that shows up from time to time, and I appreciate you showing up and vibing with us today. So
Yeah. Rusty, you always have some interesting perspectives, or at least you always get my mind thinking. So I appreciate you.
yeah, right. I'll tell you that.
I feel like the cat theme comes up a lot. Or I could, right? Am I
Yeah,
mistaking
yeah,
that
yeah,
with it?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah,
sweet.
yeah.
I'm just
There,
I'm
there you
glad
go.
that,
See that kicks in. You're already on. You're sensing it.
already on it. Already
There you
on it.
go.
But no, seriously, I mean, I was on a call with an individual earlier today and we were talking about death. And this individual was like, when you're dead, you're dead. Like you're dead, which is fine. And I shared, like, I know that is feels that's your truth. And I honor that. And I don't
Sure.
want to negate that. I was like, but on the other side of the coin, bringing, not even talking at all about spirituality, purely quantum physics here, like science, we've established for decades now that energy never disappears. Like it's transmuted, but it never goes away. So there's some part of Kerri, whatever that is, that when I leave this meat suit, this physical body, I will exist as energy in a new experience. What that is, we shall see. But Well, okay, Rusty. It's rare that somebody gets me to be silent, but I have no comment on that because the only person who's watching me tinkle is Nana Ajaman, and even then, I'm not a fan of golden showers. You know what I'm saying? Like, that doesn't suit my fancy. And this is why it's called for no particular reason. Because two things: one, you never know where the conversation is going to take you,
Sure,
and
yeah.
two, I have zero filter. I'm one of those girls who step into the shit a lot with my mouth. Um, and so much so, let me just tell you guys, all right? You know how I grew up? I was maybe 10 years old, and my mother would slap books on STDs and different crazy things at our dinner table. So I've learned not to be shy about talking about sex or whatever, because like it's part of the human experience. So hi, little man.
Sorry, the little guy, it's occupied with playing games, and he keeps bringing me the tablet to install him games. And I said, just go away.
Yeah. Well, right
Don't
before
have time
I
for
came
that.
on, my nephew was all about um me getting him strawberries. I'm like, that's not gonna happen. Go see your mom's. I gotta go on a show.
Oh, okay. Well, that's kind of fascinating. We bought him a strawberry plant for it's like
Yeah,
I
you
think
just
it.
totally went into the vortex. I heard you bought him a strawberry and then
What I was saying is that I think kids like science and other things and curious, kind of like most of the people, and understanding how things grow. Yeah.
well, as you go navigate that, I will say, as I have connected more and more deeply with myself, I've gotten a green thumb. And that is a huge feat because when I first started dating my ex-husband, I kid you not, I walked into his house. He had this beautiful room filled with plants because his grandfather was an arborist. He was amazing with plants. Within 6 months of living with that man, I killed every single one. So then fast forward, I want to say maybe 3 years ago, I saw this little plant at a gem store, and I'm like, I'm gonna take you home and I'm gonna name you Alex. I still have Alex, and Alex is like propagated all over the place, but and I'm gonna try to take care of you. And as I've grown in like my own consciousness, I've been able to care for different life, which I thought was really fascinating because I'm able to like respond to the needs of that life as I'm in it, as I'm in the space with it.
Yeah. I mean, again, when you sense everything around you, there's no need to per se have a reminders and other things. Everything just kind of vibes and connects you with things.
You know what, Rusty? I'm very glad for you. If that is what makes you happy and brings you joy, then by all means, Yanko and I are both fans of, hey, I don't know what suits you fancy, but if it brings you joy and it prevents you from harming another person, hey, have at it. I'm with it.
Yeah.
But going back to plants, go ahead.
Now I was gonna say that everything it's connected. So even you connect even with rocks, crystals, things like that, and it's different. If that's something you're willing to explore, that is, because if you're too busy doing other things and you're more occupied, with other things, then you put your energy there, and there'll be no need. But I think
Well, it's
that's
so
the beauty of
funny. Go
I
ahead.
think that's the beauty of being here in this reality that allows you for so many things to enjoy, explore. And even I was thinking about the concept of time space, how if you don't have the time space, you're not going to have the illusion of the experience, and therefore you're not going to have the experience. It's just going to be a possibility that it's out there, but you're not going to be able to experience the possibility. So
I mean,
experience
that's
what.
getting deep, but yes, you need to have time space to have the experience.
Right. But again, everyone comes with a different purpose, and everyone is experiencing time space differently and wants to have different experiences. So yeah, flowers,
Well,
no
what are
flowers.
your thoughts
Yeah.
on Gopi Krishna's comments around, so I, for context, people, I shared a video with Yanko from a Gopi Krishna who was an enlightened being who died in the 1980s. Anyway, that he was talking about was that this our focus on all of these things, watching TV, working, whatever, it it wastes the energy that we could use to cultivate higher states of consciousness. I'd be curious to hear what you have to say about that, Yanko.
I mean, in a way, yes, this is true, and this is why other have similar experiences are talking about the same thing of to keep coming back and entangling with this reality and everything, because you get into experience, then you create more experiences, then you keep getting through the experience from one to another, and again you have full tank of energy, and where you put your mind or energy and attention, that's where your energy goes. And if you're not mindful of where you're spending your energy, if you're saying yes to everything and you have no, then yeah, that's what's going to happen. I think that's how I understand it and experience it. So in a way, sometimes finding balance of saying yes to a show, it'll work out for me, or other times I say no, and then I say yes to a book or something
Yeah.
else, and kind of balance things out to whatever degree it internally feels okay to me. So
Yeah, I agree with you. And, a really good example is watching my oldest daughter right now. She's 18, and so she's being pulled in a bajillion different directions. She works. All her friends
right.
want to go out all the time because they just graduated. She's planning a party. She's getting ready to go to college. And I just see, right, she's in that stage, which I was at that age too. So, but it's fun for me to observe how her inability to say no to some things frays her energy. And, that's why people pleasing is a joke, right? When we yes everybody because we don't want to let anybody down, because one, we're letting ourselves down because we're not meeting our needs, and two, you're not ever able to give the best of yourself to everybody because you have your energy scattered to the
Right.
winds.
Right.
So there really is fundamentally a necessity to grounding, being very mindful of the choices you make. Like, I like to read a book. Sometimes I love to read like wholesome romances. I love it, but like, I, like you, make very conscious choices to where I'm putting my attention. What is it doing for me? Am I feeding am I feeding my soul? Am I just numbing out like mindless romantic books? That's just me just checked out, which I'm good with because sometimes I need that. But I am particular about where I place my energy.
Yeah. I mean, once you get conscious to a level where you understand that you give your energy to different things, then you can start to have the observer in you seeing where things are going. And And again, if you're
Hang
saying,
on. Sorry, go ahead.
yeah,
Nope. You go.
I was gonna say um, it it comes to you why you're saying yes. If you're saying yes because um, you feel guilty or some kind of outer low vibrational energy and that brings you down to feel even more miserable, then it becomes obvious and you kind of start to see those things to the point become obvious. Some don't even resonate. You consume them like food. You can consume social media. You can consume books, TV shows, or even conversations, and then that'll become obvious that it doesn't serve you or it doesn't do whatever you thought it's going to be doing or doing for you.
Yeah,
So, yeah.
100%.
Go
And
ahead.
with
What were you going to
regard,
say?
well, with regards to conserving energy, I'm gonna lovingly tell you, MD Mahidi Hassan, I would suggest you conserve your energy because I won't read anything that you have to share. And I imagine Yanko already picked up on what it was that you were putting down in the beginning of the show. I did as well. And that's fine. Do you? I love it, but I'm not interested. So thank you, and take your energy to somebody who could really benefit from what it is you offer.
Sure. Well, you know, yeah. I was gonna do comment, but sometimes it's nice to have no opinion.
Oh, please. I want the comment. I see the twinkle in your eye. What is it you want to say?
No, no, no. Sometimes it's good to not have an opinion on topic, which is just fine. Yeah.
Well, this is what I do have an opinion. And maybe you're not watching anymore, but I'm going to say this. When you're genuine, it's a felt energy. And I am a big fan of just showing up and giving myself to others from a genuine place, whether I offend them or not. That's not my intention, but it is. And so if you're in sales and you're talking to somebody who sold stuff for 26 years, so I have to tell you, I'm very good at it. The reason I was good at it and the reason my boyfriend Nana is exceptional at sales is because he genuinely cares about the individual in front of him and isn't looking to just gain something from them. So I'm just saying that's an energy too, and it's felt. And
Yeah.
more, Yanko, people are picking up on it, right? You see
Yeah.
it in
Yeah.
sales, like people aren't like bought into this bullshit fake stuff. So a
I
woman has
mean,
an opinion. I do. A woman does have an listen, Rusty. I got lots of opinions.
uh, I think at this point he's just trolling a little bit to get a
Oh, of
reaction out
course
of
he is.
you.
But Rusty trolls every time he's on here. But look, here's the thing. Does that make you happy, Rusty? Because if it does, have at it. Because Yanko and I are pretty unbothered. And quite frankly, you entertain the hell out of me sometimes because it brings out my unfiltered self.
So there you
Yes,
go.
I step into that pool of uncensored. My brother-in-law tells me all the time, he's like, I don't know how you and Nana don't get kicked off Facebook with some of the stuff you post. I'm like, but it's so fun to make.
Well, yeah. Um, yeah.
All
I
right, well,
don't think that I don't think that Facebook will kick you out of like doing something like that. Um, but again, I don't know. I don't work. So I don't
well, my thing is kind of like TikTok, right? You and me got
know.
extricated from TikTok. We were unbothered. We made zero effort to try to get us to stream back live. Like, if you don't want me there, then that's cool. And then
Eh,
You have all these marketing people. Well, you need to make a presence. The fuck I do. You know what? I have to be authentic and my people will find me. And if you don't like me, then you won't. And that's cool too.
Yeah, I think some of that it might be like a
Here you
technique
go,
or whatever
Rusty. Damn
to
right.
get
They're pretty.
uh
See? They got sparkle.
come on.
Hey,
Come
I
on.
told you. Listen, I'm like this squirrel. I'm like, oh, you wanna you wanna go there? Have
Sure,
at it.
sure, sure,
And besides,
sure.
just saying, I have pretty feet. Like, when you have a body part you vibe with, I really like my feet. So there we go. Anyway, we totally digressed, or I did anyway. Let's wrap this shindig up until next week because we
Yeah, it's been fun, people. Thanks for sharing time with us and vibing and doing this. It was really enjoyable to me, and I can't speak to Kerri, but I think she probably enjoyed it too. Having our morning cup of coffees and vibing with you guys. It's for the July weekend. For those of you that are going to be celebrating it, I wish you a wonderful 4th of July weekend. Barbecuing, fireworks, whatever you enjoy. So,
yeah. On that note, I showed you my feet today, and me and Yanko, we're always here to play in the most PG way. So next week, join us for another glimpse of us as we talk about nothing and everything about what was. Oh, I had it.
all right. Thanks for watching.